Hi everybody, it's Trish Palmer here, the creator of the IBS Hypnosis Protocol in Australia. So today I wanted to do a video about relationships and IBS. And this is if you've got some IBS clients and how it's actually affecting their other half. It was one of those things that when I first started getting into this, I didn't realize how much IBS can actually ricochet to other areas and cause so much self-destruction. So let's get on with it today. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below and I will answer them as soon as I'm available. So IBS can affect relationships. When I first started getting into this, I had so many people and they were dropping little hints here and there. And it wasn't until quite a few months after I was in with the trial runs that I actually had a light bulb moment that majority of these people were single or becoming divorced, etc. So when it comes to the relationship side and the external environment, it was actually a huge issue. Hi Benita, how you going, beautiful? So here's the 4 topics I'm going to talk about and when it comes to relationships and IBS. So are you in a relationship with your IBS or your partner? This is a really, really big one. There are many people that take it on as an identity or a label and they forget that they're actually in a relationship with their partner, not with their IBS. You IBS and your partner, because 2's company and 3's a crowd. The next thing I'll talk about is partner's view and the learning curves, because I spoke to quite a few partners who were with people who had IBS and how it was affecting them. And I didn't just speak to partners either. There was a couple of clients that I had that were single and they lived with housemates and with their parents. So I asked them, how do they cope with that? And I'll also talk about the readjustment of life. Will it make or break your relationship? So are you in a relationship with your IBS or your partner? The problem with a lot of IBS sufferers is they take it on as an identity, as a label. They turn themselves into their IBS and they actually say to people, I have IBS. And once that label is in place, you begin to shift yourself out of it, and many sufferers actually forget that when it comes to their IBS, that they're actually much, much more than that. You're not your IBS, you are way more than that. So they focus on the IBS and then they start to give it power rather than focusing on their partner and enhancing their support system. So you can lead to a support system breakdown from here, more stress and more IBS attacks. Sometimes when it comes to the partner actually won't support even the idea of you having IBS or something like that. And that can actually lead to a negative support system outside of the environment as well. So it can be a little bit tricky if you have a partner that's not actually supportive. But perhaps shift that focus to what they will support and what they will help people with or help you with. You, IBS, and your partner. 2's company, 3's definitely crowd. And this is the shittiest crowd scenario that you can possibly come up with. So as a sufferer of IBS, it's not just you that's being hurt here. Your partner has to adapt to the sudden needs for you to use the toilet or for the client to use the toilet. They have accidental gas slips, which causes embarrassment if the gas chooses to linger. There's been many occasions, I remember when I had IBS, that I personally wouldn't go on a date when I was single because I was having those gassy days and I was like, I just can't do this because I know that this is going to slip out and I'm not going to be able to control that. Hi Sue, how you going, gorgeous? So when it comes to the partner side of it, it can really affect them. I had one particular lady who had gone into a big warehouse store, and then she said to her partner, I need to go to the toilet. And off she went to the toilet. Unfortunately, she had defecated herself along the way, and her partner had had enough of this IBS problem that she rang him from the toilet and said, look, I've had a problem. Can you go to the car and get my bag for me? And he'd had enough of that problem that he actually left her there. And that caused massive issues on top of the IBS. It caused more stress and anxiety. And then she had more and more attacks. She actually got stuck in that toilet for approximately approximately 2.5 hours. And it's actually at that stage where when I took her through her IBS management, I ended up doing some extra sessions with her and taking her back to that toilet and helping her heal that memory. She had left that man in between time and found a much more understanding partner ever since. But it's amazing how this one issue can actually affect a relationship as a whole. Because, like I said, two's company and three's a crowd, and this is a pretty shitty crowd. So even adapting to knowledge that you may not make the toilet and someone needs to check on you, the partner can take on the nursing role, and sometimes there's something that they just want to do. There's no medication for this, and there's no scientific explanation. And this can be a big thing for a partner to take on because they're not suffering with it themselves, and therefore there may be things that they just don't understand. They're like, well, why today? Why are you so stressed? Why is this coming on? What have you eaten that has caused you to fart like that when you're in bed? It's disgusting, sort of thing. So they can actually become quite judgmental. It's never a personal attack on the person. It's actually an attack on the IBS through the person that creates more stress for the person, bringing on more IBS attacks, and then the vicious loop just keeps going around and around and around. So partners' views and the learning curves. This is some of the things I learnt from some of the partners when I asked them, hey, what's going on and how can you help me to help others? And some of the partners just flat out said to me, I cannot become the nurse. They couldn't bring themselves to become the nurse. And this was to do with male figures in particular. I'm not saying that males don't, but this was in particular male figures. And they were very old school male figures. They didn't want to have to take on the nurturing role for their partner. And some partners, like when it came on to being the nurse in this role, they just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the whole carrying around the underpants or checking on their partner, making sure they're okay. The sudden coming home from work because they had a stomach ache or something like that. They just couldn't take on that role. Some partners actually lost attraction in their loved ones, as once they had this social anxiety and this stress overload. Hi Valerie, how you going, gorgeous? Once they had this social anxiety and this stress overload, all of a sudden, the partner couldn't handle that. They were just like, oh, you're always having issues as soon as we go out. And there was also a new eating requirement or uncontrollable body functions. So the new eating requirement, when we go through the nutrition in the IBS Hypnosis Protocol, there were some partners that were just like, I don't understand why they can't eat bread. I don't understand why you can't do the rice and the pasta and stuff like that. And it really caused a rift in the relationship because for all these years they got into this routine. They'd always done what they'd done. And then suddenly something changed. They'd go out for dinner and the partner couldn't eat certain things and they felt like they were taking on that nursing role. And when it came to the uncontrollable body functions, it was always the gas. It was always that gas that would come out at the worst possible time. And it's because the client is putting themselves into a nervous state, and then that would cause the body to flood the system with pheromones and things like this. Oh, not so much, not pheromones, but yeah, with stress hormones. And then all of a sudden that person would fart, like their colon would kick in. It would like, right, let's extract everything we can, try and get as calm as we can. And that would cause a farting episode or a gas episode of some sort. So when it came down to these partners, I actually said to them, education is best. Work towards a solution as a team and create a support system that's stronger until this period of life actually passes on. So the readjustments of life, will it make or break your relationship? Most IBS sufferers are stressed out people. They're burning the candle at both ends. They take on other people's baggage. They usually don't look after themselves when it comes to nutrition and things like that. So they're really, really stressed out people and they're overworked. Even if they're not in a career as such or something like that, they can be a mother or a father and they take on their children's stresses and dramas, even though there's not really that much of a drama there. It happens. It's what they do. It's what they choose as their burden. So when you're teaching the sufferer to slow down, to nurture themselves, this can be a real eye-opener because they feel like they've got this responsibility all the time. I can't do that. I've always done this, blah, blah, blah. I've helped people in relationships where the relationship is broken down because of the IBS sufferer couldn't control the gas that was coming on. And the partners just couldn't put up with it anymore. I had one particular relationship where the lady just, every time she would eat, she would get this horrible gas, and it got to a stage where her partner was no longer attracted to her because she always smelt like this gas, and he just didn't want to touch her, he didn't want to kiss her, he didn't want to go out with her, he didn't want to make love with her or anything like that, and it had caused a massive rift in the relationship. So when I actually took her through the IBS protocol, I actually asked her, was it okay if I met her partner so I could educate on what's happening and how we can solve this problem, sort of thing. So it's wonderful to say that they're actually still together and they're doing very well. So they're very good mates of mine now. So again, education is best for both parties, and then both of them are working towards a solution. Create some open-mindedness as to what's going on. So if you need to give that bit of education to the partner so that they can create a support system for the IBS sufferer, then by all means create that. So some things I recommend. If you are currently seeing IBS sufferers, these are some things that I recommend. Number 1, learn what your partner's stress triggers are and work together to solve them and make situations easier. That's what it's all about. Absolutely, Benita, absolutely. So that's what it's all about. Learn what your partner's stress triggers are. Not so much eliminate them, because there's some people that actually thrive on those stress triggers, but try and shift the stress trigger so that it's in more a positive light, sort of thing, so that they can cope with it better, help them out, negotiate, work out a system of success. Number 2, love languages is a wonderful thing to learn. It doesn't take much to open up the mind towards it and applying it to your relationship. There's been many times where in my IBS Hypnosis Protocol, I have also included my love languages manual. I have asked them to go away, fill out the manual, and then bring it back with them in the following session, and then spent that extra 20 minutes, half an hour explaining all of the love languages to them and getting them to understand their love languages and how they can make it work. Honestly, it's been an absolute game changer for some of my clients, particularly ones who have been in a sort of a toxic relationship since they were, like, you know, in their high schools and stuff like that, and now they've been together for 30 years and they're sick of each other. So it's really helped with some people. Also, IBS can come and go in many shapes and forms. Don't take it on as your identity. You're much more than that. That's one thing I really do in the first session of my IBS hypnosis when I'm working with clients. I just tell them flat out, I'm like, you are not your IBS. What else are you? You're much more than that. Get them to shift away from that focus and move into something else. I had one lady that was just so stuck in her IBS that when I helped her shift into that, she realized she was a great mom. And she started to focus on being that great mum again, and she'd realised how much of a connection she'd lost with her children. And honestly, I'm so proud of her because she's really started to connect back with her children. Her children were teenagers, and they were telling her to F-O. And I just sat there going, how dare you disrespectful little shit. Like, they had disconnected from her so much, and because she had the gas that was so bad, they didn't want to go shopping with her or anything like that. And she always would try and laugh it off with a nervous laugh, like squeaky floorboards. And, you know, the children were just like, Mum, you're so disgusting, you're such a And so she'd really lost that connection there. So it can come in all different shapes and forms. So make sure that you help with those relationships as well if your client is open to that. And tell them, don't take this on as an identity. It's not who you are. This is just the phase that's going through. So yeah. The love languages, Benita, yes, it's going to be available in the Modern Mentoring. It's going live in October here for more testing and stuff like that in group scenarios, and it will be available in the Modern Mentoring. So stay tuned for that one. Oh, you're quick on the mark, darling. I like it. So since release, we've decided to release the IBS Hypnosis Protocol in October last year. It was absolutely fantastic. We've sold out 5 events across Australia. We've been recognised for 10 CPD points with the Australian Hypnotherapists Association. And we have also released the IBS Hypnosis Protocol online so that we can help people outside Australia. And we've had such a phenomenal result with that. I am so honoured. I really am that we're helping more people. So we're planning on bringing the protocol to more locations in Australia and New Zealand next year. So our locations for 2019 will be Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, and New Zealand. We are working on dates at the moment, and if you'd like to register your interest, simply email me at trish@trishpalmer.com, and we can add you to our email list and let you know what's happening. We also will have a payment plan as well, and this year we've got even more stuff being added to the protocol. So we also have IBS for children being added to the protocol, and many other stuff coming out as well, so that we can keep everybody informed and everybody growing towards their success. Because guess what? IBS in children actually exists, and it's a bigger issue than a lot of people realize. So if you'd like to try the free part of the IBS online learning, I will place the link below, or you can register your interest for our IBS events for 2019, trish@trishpalmer.com. So next time I'll be talking about emotions, pain, and IBS. And you can check out this video and more of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just simply subscribe to Pellin and Palmer sort of thing. So yeah. What about eating disorders, Benita? What are you talking about when you say anorexia or, well, Crohn's and colitis is added into the modules, most definitely. I'll just wait for some clarification from Benita. Hi, Lynette. How you going, gorgeous? Thanks for coming in. So for people with anorexia and stuff like that, when it comes to anorexia and bulimia, yes, absolutely. The one thing that we actually recommend with those ones is that you start working on their emotions first, and then you move into those other situations, okay? So when you attend the course for the IBS Hypnosis Protocol, I take you through how those other eating disorders can actually affect the mental status and how it is that you can help them with that, so that the IBS can usually just clear up on its own, because that's a different scenario altogether, okay? So is it a control thing? Not that I'm aware of, no. Usually it's a self-loathing thing and a self-doubt, so yeah. All right, guys, have an awesome day. If you have any other questions, I will comment on them below. Bye-bye. Mwah.